Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about the new chapter, that is respiration. Very important chapter in the human physiology. Last class we discussed about the digestive disorders and the digestion process and digestive what you called enzymes, pancreas, liver, okay, gallbladder, mouth, alimentary canal. These are all the things we discussed in the digestive system. Today we are going to discuss about the new chapter, that is respiration. So respiration, we inhale and exhale the air, right? Why we are inhaling and exhaling air? Because breathing is so important for life. What happens when we stop breathe? We won't get energy and we will die. Why energy is required for the body? Why energy is required? You know very well, to perform the different activities. Where does energy will come from? Okay, energy important. Where it is coming from? Through the above raised questions, once you see, we should know the process of breathing is connected to the process of releasing energy. Taking off oxygen, releasing of carbon dioxide. Taking off oxygen, releasing of carbon dioxide. So because of this, what we are getting? Energy we are getting. It's the most important point we should have to remember. See now, we are taking the food, glucose, reacting with the oxygen. So breakdown of this all because of oxidation, these biomolecules, this glucose, carbohydrates will be breakdown, and what they will give? They will give the energy. This is the most important point. Okay. During this breakdown, which one will be released? Carbon dioxide will be released, and also this harmful gas will be released out and water will be formed. So carbon dioxide is a very dangerous gas. Should have to send immediately. So the cells will take the oxygen and release the carbon dioxide. So this is the most important and immediately process releasing of carbon dioxide, immediate process. So the need of respiratory system is essential for life. Why? Because energy is important, oxygen is important. Every cell required energy to perform activities. So need of respiration. This total process is called respiration. So taking of air, oxygen and releasing of carbon dioxide is breathing. Both are, this equation you should have to remember. So glucose oxidizing with oxygen, breaking down and release into the energy, and carbon dioxide will come and water will come. Carbon dioxide will be released. These points you should have to remember. Okay. We have discussed in the previous chapter how food provides energy. So food will be breakdown and will give energy, right, in the tissues. So oxygen is necessary breakdown of glucose. So oxygen is compulsory necessary for the breakdown. See, oxidation of glucose is going on or not? Without oxidation of glucose, there is no what is called energy. So oxygen is essential for energy. In this chapter, we will discuss about respiratory organs of the humans. What we will discuss? Respiratory organs of the humans. Most important. What are the respiratory organs of the humans? Lungs, right? The mechanism of breathing, how we can inhale, how we can exhale, and exchange of and the transport of gases, how the gases carbon dioxide will move from tissues to lungs, and how the oxygen will move from lungs to tissues. Okay, gases and a few respiratory disorders we will discuss in this chapter. The term respiration refers to the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the environment and cells of our body, where organic nutrients will be broken down enzymatically to release energy. So enzymatically this will be break down and release energy. Exchange of the gases plus the carbohydrates, organic matter will be broken down enzymatically. Enzymes are involved in the breakdown of glucose and will provide which one? Energy. Then release the carbon dioxide. That is only total term is called respiration. So very important. But once again I am telling the term respiration refers exchange of oxygen. So you are taking oxygen and releasing of carbon dioxide, right? Between the environment and cells of our body. When organic nutrients are broken down, carbohydrates like organic nutrients are broken down enzymatically to release energy. Now we are going to discuss about what are the respiratory functions. We are discussing what? respiratory functions we are discussing. Observe very carefully. First, respiratory functions. The 5 primary functions of the respiratory system are to exchange O2 and carbon dioxide between the atmosphere and blood. So you know very well. Which gas we are inhaling? Oxygen. Which gas we are releasing? Carbon dioxide. To exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the atmosphere and blood. So oxygen is going to blood, from blood to carbon dioxide will be go out atmosphere. So this is the most important function of the respiratory function. Next, to maintain homeostatic regulation of body pH. Homeostatic means what? Balancing, systematic balanced regulation of body pH. See, if too much pH is there, problem will come. Less pH is there, problem will come. So to maintain constant pH, which is required, pH required is very important. Optimum pH required. To maintain the optimum or regulation of body pH, compulsory the respiration is very, very important. Homeostatic regulation of body pH. To protect us from inhaled pathogens and pollutants. Suppose you inhaled any pathogen, that will be, we should have to exhale. Okay, to protect us from the inhaled pathogens and pollutants. Suppose some pollen grains we inhale, unfortunately they should have to send through the exhalation. So like that, to protect us from inhaled pathogens and pollutants. Next, to maintain the vocal cords for normal communication. See, vocalization. You are speaking. To maintain the vocal cords for the normal communication. So what you are doing? You are creating the sound or not? That sound is important. To maintain the vocal cords for normal communication, you are speaking. That is the most important point to discuss, what is called, to get the sound. So these points you should have to remember. Next one, to remove the heat produced during cellular respiration. Suppose you are involving in the respiration process, then heat will be generated. That heat we should have to send out. To remove the heat produced during the cellular respiration, compulsory what we have to do, when the heat is generating because of respiration, that heat we should have to send out, otherwise body will become overheat. So these are the major 5 functions of the respiratory functions. Once again children, first function is to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide between the atmosphere and blood. First function, exchange of O2 and carbon dioxide between the atmosphere and blood. So oxygen we are taking, that should have to reach the blood, and carbon dioxide producing is way, and that should have to eliminate from the body. So that is exchange of the gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide between the which one? The atmosphere and the blood, to maintain homeostatic regulation of body pH. So homeostasis is important. So the regulation of pH, if carbon dioxide too much, then pH will be altered. So to maintain pH is altered means there are some problems will become in our metabolic system. So to maintain homeostatic regulation of body pH, compulsory respiration is important, and to protect us from inhaled pathogens and pollutants, and to maintain the vocal cords for normal communication. To maintain the which one? Vocal cords for normal communication. Next, another important one, to remove the heat produced during cellular respiration. We have to remove the heat produced during cellular respiration. Next, respiratory organs in various organisms. This is a very, very important. Different organs have different body, what you call different animals. What are the different organs which are helpful for the exchange of the gases? Come on, this is the most important. For example, we see the fishes living in the water. The fishes living in the water, they have special respiratory system. And see frog live in the water and land. They have special respiratory organs. Humans, we living on the land, we have separate respiratory organs. Insects, their body is different in structure, different structure. They have one more type of exchange of what you call materials. Like this, different organs like exchange of gases, habitats, and levels of organization is there. They live in the different habitats, the different gases they will take. So based upon their organization, based upon their habitats, there will be different organs are there for respiration. So like that, this point you should have to remember. Once again, children, different organs for exchange of gases based upon habitats and level of organization. Cellular level organization, one kind of respiratory organ. Tissue level organization, one kind of respiratory organ. Organ system level of organization, there one will be one type of respiratory systems or respiratory organs are there. See, DO. What is a DO? Dissolved oxygen. What is a DO? Dissolved oxygen is less in water compared with the air. You know very well, dissolved oxygen. Oxygen will be less in the water compared with the air. So breathing in aquatic organisms much faster than land animals. So that is the reason aquatic organisms, the breathing is much faster than land animals. This is important. What I said, you understand or not? Dissolved oxygen is less in water compared with the air. So that's the reason the aquatic organisms breathing will be much faster than the land animals. So that's why they have separate or special respiratory organs are there. For example, sponges, cylinderates, flatworms. Once again, sponges, cylinderates, flatworms, exchange gases takes place through body surface. Very, very important. What is called? So through the simple diffusion. Through simple diffusion, what is called? Sponges, cylinderates, flatworms. It's a very important need bit. Simple diffusion. It's a very important need bit. Okay, what are the simple diffusion? Sponges, cylinderates, flatworms. This all exchange of gases takes place through body surface by simple diffusion. Sponges, cylinderates, flatworms. So exchange of gases through body surface, that's called simple diffusion. Diffusion means what? Movement of molecules from high concentration to low concentration. Then earthworm. Earthworms, how can there is no lungs, there is no that much developed systems in the earthworm. Then how can earthworm will be respire? There, very important question this is. Earthworm respire through skin, moist skin. The skin is moist, the moist skin, that moist nature traps the oxygen. Because of that moist skin, the oxygen will be trapped by the moist, then oxygen will be diffused into the inside, then that will be go. Same like that, carbon dioxide will be eliminated out. So earthworm's skin, moist skin is the respiratory organ. That's why the respiration of earthworm is called cutaneous respiration system. Why? The earthworms are involving in the respiration through the skin. That's why that kind of respiration system is called cutaneous respiration system. What is it called? Cutaneous respiration system. Then come to insects, cockroach. Cockroach skin is not moist nature. Cockroach skin is very hot. There is no respiration through what is called skin. Then what they will do, the cockroach insects have, they have the special respiratory organs called tubes. They are called trachea. The cockroaches have the trachea for respiratory organs, respiration process. That's why the insect's respiration system or the cockroach respiratory system is called trachea. Not only trachea, book lungs, book gills, so many are there, but important major one is trachea. That's why insects respiratory system through trachea, that's why it's called tracheal respiration system. What do you call? Tracheal respiration system. Next come to what about the aquatic animals. See, aquatic arthropods and mollusca, they have gills as a respiratory organs. Aquatic arthropods and mollusks, they have gills as a respiratory organs. Then fishes, gills. Fishes have gills, you know very well. Fishes separate organs called gills are there. Even this is a neat bit. Again, the one more neat bit. Aquatic arthropods through the respiratory organs, gills. Mollusks, gills. Even fishes, gills. The reptiles, birds, mammals, lungs. Reptiles, birds, mammals have the lungs. Frogs spend most of time their water and also use their moist skin for respiration along with the lungs and frogs. What about the frogs? Amphibians, the skin, lungs and buccopharynx. Remember these names. Through the skin they will involve in the respiration in the water, and they can use lungs also, and they can use for respiration point of view what you call buccopharynx. Buccopharynx, this is a what you should have to remember. Buccopharynx, the frogs lungs, skin, buccopharynx they can involve. Like this the respiration process is there. It's a very important. Respiratory organs are there in the different what you called the animals. These points you should have to remember. Okay, these points you should have to remember. First we are going to discuss about respiration, right? What is the respiration? The nutrients we are taking or not? Carbohydrates, they react with oxygen and breakdown takes place. So breakdown of these carbohydrates, nutrients with the help of oxygen, that is called oxidation of carbohydrates or respiratory substrates will give us the energy, and carbon dioxide and water will be released. Carbon dioxide should have to eliminate. That's poisonous. So like this, energy is must and should for each and every cell. That's the reason food will be give energy, but food should have to whatever we eat that should have to reoxidize. Then only we will get energy. Where from where we should have to get oxygen means through the respiration. So respiratory very important. Respiration is important. That's why energy point of view oxygen is important. Okay. So in this chapter what we are going to discuss is in the respiration chapter, respiratory organs of humans, mechanism of breathing, exchange and transport of gases and a few respiratory disorders, exchange of oxygen. Okay, this is a very important. What you call respiratory organs of humans, mechanism of breathing, exchange and transport of gases and a few respiratory disorders we will be discuss. Okay children, respiratory function, these all are important. So exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between environment cells of our body is a very important, right? So oxygen you are taking, carbon dioxide is releasing. This is the first function. What's the functions of respiratory what you called things? What will happen? You see very well. What will happen? Exchange of oxygen, carbon dioxide between environment, atmosphere is very important, and organic nutrients are broken down or not enzymatically to release energy. That is called respiration. So how can you define the respiration? Respiration definition means what? Here definition of respiration. It's a question, very important question and very important. Okay, for need point of view also. So exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide is a very important. Exchange of carbon dioxide, oxygen is very important. So oxygen should have to required first, and carbon dioxide we should have to send immediately outside. So carbon dioxide we should have to send immediately. That one you should have to remember. So what's the definition? Exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between environment and cells of our body. Organic nutrients broken down. Okay, broken down enzymatically. For broken down not easily, because the help of enzymes they will be break down. You know, glycolysis, Krebs and electron transport chain like that. So enzymatically to release energy. So what are the respiratory functions? The 5 primary functions are: first one, to exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the atmosphere and blood. Next, to maintain the homeostatic regulation of body pH. To protect us from the inhaled pathogens and pollutants. To maintain the vocal cords for normal communication. To remove the heat produced during cellular respiration. To remove the heat producing during cellular respiration. These all points you should have to remember. So respiratory organs in various organisms. Number 1, different organs are there. These all are very useful in the different animals for respiration. So different animals have different organs for exchange of gases. What are those? Based upon which one? Their habitat. See, they are living in the water. they have one kind of respiratory organ. They're living in the land and they have cellular level organization, tissue level organization, and what you call this kind of organizations are there, in the sense they have their respiratory organs also will be different. For example, you see dissolved oxygen in the water is less. The breathing in the aquatic organisms is much faster than the land animals. This is important. Dissolved oxygen in the aquatic water is less. That's why breathing in aquatic organism is much faster than the land animals. Next, the sponges, coelenterate, flatworms, simple diffusion. There is no special respiratory organs in these animals. Sponges, coelenterate, flatworms, exchange of gases takes place through body surface. That's called simple diffusion. The earthworm, skin. The respiratory organs of earthworm is skin, cutaneous respiration. The respiratory organs of insects, that's called tracheal respiration. Trachea. Why? Insects or cockroach skin is, you see, tough and there is no moist. So that's why there is a separate or special respiratory organ that is called trachea. Then the gills, respiratory organs, the respiration which occurs in the gills, in the sense that is called bronchial respiration. So the gills respiratory organs mainly in the aquatic arthropods, mollusks, even fishes also gills. So respiration which occurs to the skin is called cutaneous respiration. The respiration which occurs to the trachea is called tracheal respiration. So like that, there will be respiration process will be there.